right, that was an impressive victory with a bit of a different setup, which we'll talk about in just a minute. We're having a few technical difficulties. We're very sorry. We're working on fixing them as soon as possible and seeing if we can't have everything up and live continuously throughout the night. This was one of those setups where you're thinking like, they didn't bring the full 12 ships, but it worked. Why?
Yeah, I mean, just to hit the 12 ship thing, I don't know why they wouldn't have downgraded those Iskers to T1 frigates and just brought 12. I mean, Iskers are great ships, but if you have extra slots, might as well bring Tech 1 frigates.
Yeah, I think it definitely is a setup that could have been better, but it still was good. Proteuses are really good since the buff to hybrids that happened since the last tournament. So between last tournament and this tournament, hybrids got a lot better. Blaster ships in general, we're seeing it in the Vindicators, we're seeing it in the Enyos, we're seeing it in ships like Proteuses. The other thing that really helped him win it was that percussive pizza time diplomacy shot at one Proteus the whole match.
Yes.
They, instead of chasing after those curses, with their ships that are quite fast, instead of going after anything else, they picked the heaviest tanking ship on the opposing team, started shooting at it, and then never changed targets ever.
All right. So maybe not as good at FCing as they are at finding alliance names.
Exactly. And setups aside, I think that was just a piloting skill max right there.
So you'd say change an Isker to an Incursus, for example?
Incursus would be an excellent choice, yes.
All right.
Incursus would be a good one. Mollusk would also be a good one. One of the problems with a Proteus team is that if you come up against 100 MN Tengus, the Damp Drakes, any kind of long-range kiting team, you're going to have trouble catching them with a Proteus team. Right. So you can counter that by bringing some Damps on a Mollusk, force them in close so that your Curses can grab them and your Proteus can grab them. Yeah.
Right. CCP Batic. You once started a low-sec customs office empire.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That went really well for the first week.
All right.
And then not so very well.
So the plan was to take over a bunch of customs offices and get rich.
Yeah.
What happened?
Lack of people and logging on, pretty much. But I got a couple of good fights out of it, though.
Yes.
Like that custom office generated 3 good for low-sec fights. Get like a couple of Tech 2 ships and like always came ahead. So in theory, my adventure came out in applause.
All right. But you did not build the empire, you hope.
No, my empire was 1 week lived. But it was a good empire while it was living. That's
I'll
what
remember it fondly. All right, so I thought that was really cool. Although I didn't really show up to help.
No.
I did think it was kind of cool. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't just let people take them in empire as well.
Yeah, it's tempting. Me and CCP Tallest were talking about this originally when he was working on the war mechanic, and we were doing the math on it. And like the fear is that like one alliance will go and steamroll every custom office in the world. I personally pity that alliance that wants to do that, and I don't think that's really viable.
There's a lot of
high sec.
Wouldn't it be cool though?
And then someone can war deck them to take it back from them, and then you can have allies in the war, and
Wouldn't
a
it be
war
cool?
report.
Yeah. Like this would be like Empire Industries, like endgamey thing. Like you could own those systems. It wouldn't be like Sava. It would be like a loose kind of.
And I also think it would put more pressure on the dudes that like take them to actually like get customers. In low sec, it's a little bit taxes 100%, communism all the way.
You can set up franchises. Say the capital punishment POCOs are the lowest taxes around. Come to my planets.
We should do this, and then we, my friend, will
have
a high sec empire.
That's good. That sounds like that's not
That's a good idea. I say all the co's.
Yes.
And I think just stuff you can own in space. I think that's a really good mechanic. And the taxing and like.
The more stuff you can own, the better.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put everything in the player's hands.
You guys make tons of customs offices.
Yes, we do.
I actually know how much you make.
Do you now?
Yes.
You have spies everywhere?
Yes. No, I just asked actually.
More or less than technician.
CCP's been pulling the goon strings. Actually, all you forum conspiracy theorists have it all wrong.
I actually just said to this one guy, how much does Goonsport make off customs office? And he just basically sent me all the numbers. Yeah. I didn't have to ask twice. I just said.
We actually make all of our finances public. There's a spreadsheet that like anybody can look at. Just, you're curious how much Goonsport makes.
It was super nice because I quite like the taxation thing. Yeah. Lets you live off your members.
Just what we like
Which
to
is,
do.
as it should be.
Just like to sit on top of my membership pile and
Why do you hate America?
No, but I mean, like you have like moons that it doesn't matter how many people you have, it just still churns out that number of money. But with like the taxes, like get more people in, it'll generate more
Right.
money across the board. I kind of like those. Anyway, let's not get bogged down by these pocos, and let's look at a schedule for the rest of the night.
Actually, talk about the tournament.
Actually,
A
talk
novel
about this.
idea.
I know. We have
good fight coming up.
three left. Yes, that's a really good fight.
fights coming up.
I actually had a change of heart. I had Shadow Cartel, but then I was like, uh-oh, suddenly spaceships.
Suddenly, you were like suddenly spaceships.
Yeah, it was very, yeah.
I find that these next couple matches, this match, a little harder for me to call. I think they're both good teams.
They are. I actually would kind of hope that Shadow Cartel would win, but I've got Suddenly circled because they are really good. Seldarine's had some. As long as Seldarine isn't flying out of arenas,
Yeah.
he's doing excellent jobs in the tournament. He's been making good tournament teams for a long time. These guys know what they're doing. So I would actually I'm in this position where I've got Suddenly circled, but I would kind of rather like to see
So
Shadow
as
Cartel.
long as he's not in like 100 MN Tengu, they should be pretty all right.
The Damn Drakes didn't work out as well last year. But if for anyone that didn't catch it, last weekend, Shadow Cartel, they lost their first match because of a disconnect. They really needed to come from behind to have a huge victory. They had one point where they had a Cyclone that was crucial to their team, had a Ancillary Shield booster, ran out of charges, needed to reload, but it was all webbed. So they had 100 MN Tengu orbiting around. He pulled wide, came in, gave him a bump. Bumped his team member, bumped him out of web range so he could get away,
Oh, wow.
reload his booster, and then come back into the fight.
Oh, all right. Well, that does sound a little bit pro. I'm happy I changed it to suddenly spaceships.
It's hard to catch a lot of that stuff in real time, but when you go back and look at it
Yeah.
after the fact, you're like, I can't believe that guy just did that, and I missed it.
Yeah. Let's take a little bit look at capacitors. If you guys want to walk the viewers through what we're going to see here.
I love capacitors.
One of the first things you can tell new players in this game is cap is life. Cap, you use it for just about everything you do, and when you run out of it, it would be awesome if that ship would just like went and did the whole Firefly floating through space, turning and all the lights go out thing. But yeah, basically when you run out of cap, you can't do a whole lot. So you can cap will recharge over time, and then you can use boosters to give you an injection of cap really quickly.
Especially for hybrid chips and laser turret chips, you can't even shoot when you run out of cap. So not only is your tank gone, you can't use your prop mods or E-War, you can't even shoot. So you're completely useless when you run out of cap.
Some ships like Minmatar and missile ships can shoot without using cap, but they still use cap for their prop mods, they still use cap for their hardeners, for gang links. You use it for all kinds of things.
And of course, for MR, you basically run your lasers until you're out of cap.
Yeah.
If you're in Abaddon, of course. Which is my favorite chip. It is actually one of my
Is it
favorite.
now?
Well, it's one of them. I think the curse is probably my favorite chip.
You like Cap Warfare?
Yeah,
Curse is
yeah,
good at it.
anyway, they're kind of sexy and badass and
Curse is an excellent chip. I think it's one of Kill 2's favorite also.
yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no way for us to see people's cap levels during the fight. We can see who's getting neuted because of the new awesome overview. But
If there's one thing that would be like really, really useful to know to kind of analyze what's happening on the spot.
We might actually put that in then.
maybe at some point. It would get kind of
Find
cluttered,
a
but
way to
yeah,
do
it's a very important stat that you usually can't
Yeah.
see. Some of the best groups on Tranquility will use these ship scanners, which they tell you the modules, they don't care about that. They also tell you the cap of a target. So while they're in the big fight,
Yeah.
they'll check out the cap of their primaries, organize their newts. Really next level.
Wonder what CCP Veritas is doing later. No,
Okay.
but it would be fun
I
for the
think
next
he's curling his
Alliance
mustache
tournament.
later.
Yeah, probably. All right, yeah. So we do have three matches left. Of course, we do have CCP Srieg's. His dubstep podcast comes out later tonight as well, where he spends 2 to 3 hours running you through the latest happening on the dubstep scene. It's usually pretty cool. We have a few hundred people listening when he runs his favorite set.
It's actually 15 minutes of music, but then just repeated over 3 hours.
Yeah, depending how much he has that week. So, Suddenly Spaceships, what about, so I don't really know Kill It With Fire. Kill It With Fire are going to fight Pandemic Legion as the last fight. I don't really know anything about them.
They're Wormhole residents, if I'm not mistaken. They, I don't think they're, like, this is their first tournament. I think they've made a respectable showing so far. If they can beat PL, that's going to be a huge upset.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, I'm sure they're really hoping to impress people with that. I do think they're in the top half of these teams, though. They've been solid.
All right, cool. Well, let's get some predictions here. Sastro.
I've been really impressed with Shadow Cartel so far in the tournament, so I'm going with Shadow Cartel.
I'm changing my opinion to go with my heart instead of my gut. I kind of think Suddenly's going to win, but I really want Shadow Cartel to
Just
win.
follow your heart, Raimi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually go for Shadow Cartel.
All right, well, I'm the lone guy left on Suddenly Spaceships.
Contrarian.